All right, welcome back to another episode of Hometown Sports Podcast Network. We got a great episode for you today. We've got Ryan Tyndale coming to us from the Norfolk Chaos Volleyball Association. This is an exciting one. The Volleyball Association it's been growing like crazy, not only across Norfolk but across the province. We're seeing more and more of these volleyball tournaments pop up. I know I coach a hockey team or a ball team in Waterloo, and it shuts down like crazy over for a few weeks, where the whole entire facility turns into a volleyball tournament. But before we get into this, what we want to jump in is this episode is powered by Walker Mortgages. With winter sports wrapping up, and let's be honest, for a lot of families, the bills are stacking up between gas, groceries, hotels, team fees, and away tournaments. Many families, they're carrying balances on line of credits and credit cards just to get through the season. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone, and there might be an easier way to handle it. Every week, we're helping families consolidate high-interest debt, lower monthly payments, reduce financial stress, and use savings instead of credit cards for that next away tournament. If you want to explore options, book a strategy call at www.meetwithadam.ca. That's www.meetwithadam.ca. Let's make next season a heck of a lot easier. Well, Ryan, let's rewind things a little bit before we really jump in here. For people who don't know, how did the Norfolk Chaos Volleyball Association get started?
So Chaos actually started about 10 years ago with a single team of 16 new girls and a handful of parents. And they basically got together and they registered Chaos as a nonprofit volleyball club in Haldimand, Norfolk. And to this day, they still remain the only registered nonprofit incorporation that offers volleyball in our community.
What was volleyball like in Norfolk County before chaos existed, right?
There wasn't very much of it. So Chaos brought the first opportunities for volleyball for children ages 9U to 3U. The first opportunities that expanded to each rural community in Norfolk County, and the first volleyball for Haldimand communities, including Hagersville, Cayuga, and Caledonia. Chaos also brought the first beach volleyball league to the community, which includes children grades 3 and up. And that was about 10 years ago.
Can you tell us how that's developed over the last 10 years into what it is today?
Yeah, absolutely. So first season consisted of 16-year girls teams. The second season expanded to 5 teams of girls ranging from 13U to 17U. They also had 2 teams of boys at that point. And it was also the first season that they ran beach volleyball, where they had 32 teams of girls that played 2v2. Now we currently have 24 competitive teams of girls, eight Norfolk House League teams, boys and girls, and a Haldimand House League program of an additional 150 girls. We have 256 competitive players, 198 House League players. And last season in beach, we had 234 beach players playing 2v2, 4v4, and 6v6.
And was there a moment that you realized that this could get much bigger and grow as much as it has?
Yeah, it's still continuing to grow. We try to encourage opportunities for strong competitive local teams in both the summer and winter seasons. We're happy with the growth, but we do want to see it to continue to grow further.
Did you get involved, Ryan? This is something that's completely different. Did you play volleyball growing up? Is this something, you had kids interested in? Why did you get involved in this?
Sure. So I played volleyball. So I actually started playing volleyball when I was like 16, beach volleyball. Just at the Hagersville quarries, there's a pickup. You go there and you just sort of pick up and you play beach volleyball there. This was going way, way back. And then in my 20s, Ashbridges Bay in Toronto sort of developed a not so pro beach volleyball league. And they have close to 100 beach volleyball nets set up there. So I started playing in that league, basically 4v4 and 6v6 competitive. And then just from there, I continued to play. I work in the school system, so I coach volleyball in that. And then about 5 years ago, my daughter said, "Dad, I think I want to play competitive volleyball." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, that's great. I'd be happy to coach you if you want to play competitive volleyball." And from there, I've been coaching for Chaos. So that was the local club that I got involved in. And From that point on, I've been a Chaos coach for probably about 4 years now, and now I run the beach volleyball league, and now I'm the president of Chaos.
Who were some of your early believers to kind of help you along? And a kind of two-part question: was it hard to get those early believers to kind of buy into what you were trying to get going?
So Jamie Brownlee was the first one to sort of start the club. As I said, like I came on about 5 years ago. The club just continues to grow from year to year, getting bigger and bigger. I don't really know how to answer that question. Sorry.
Nope. Nope. No worries. Was there ever a moment that you kind of thought maybe this wasn't going to work, like things just weren't going to get together, you weren't going to get enough members, or was it just always up and up and go, go, go?
I think from the get go, it's been like up and up. Like it hasn't stopped
Awesome.
growing.
That's
Like,
perfect.
like even with the beach volleyball, it continues to grow every single year. So, and we just need more and more coaches to keep growing the facilities and growing the club.
Absolutely. No, that's exactly what we want. So yeah, it's kind of good segue to feels like volleyball isn't just good around here locally. It's booming. It seems to be all around Ontario. Why do you feel like what do you think is the driving force behind that? Why do you think it's becoming such a popular sport lately?
Good question. It's sort of a late developing sport for most athletes. It's really caught on mostly with young girls getting into it very early. Boys tend to get into it a little bit later. I guess maybe with the Olympics and just the culture it's created in the community. Like you often see players will wear their chaos swag at schools quite frequently and around the town. They love playing competitive volleyball, and it forms almost like a small family.
Yep, definitely know a few families involved, and like you said, you see them wearing their swag loud and proud, and it's
Mhm.
cool to see, and it's nice to see, and then yeah, it makes you kind of look into it a little bit more and see what this Norfolk Chaos is.
Right.
Do you ever find any of these athletes are making this like their primary sport, or is this kind of a side sport? How do you find these athletes?
For your competitive players, I would say it is their primary sport. The time commitment for to compete competitively is quite extensive. So we would practice 3 hours a week. And then our tournaments, so we can have anywhere from 4 tournament weekends all the way up to 15 tournament weekends in a
Oh,
whole season.
holy.
Like the indoor rep volleyball runs from September all the way till the end of May. So it's a very, very long season. And then
Yeah.
then right after that, beach volleyball starts. And beach volleyball runs June and July.
Ryan, I got here
It
in
is crazy.
yeah,
No,
Ryan,
go
I
ahead,
got here in
Jacob.
2008, and at that point, a lot of the athletes that competed at the high school level didn't really play a lot of club, and now it seems like most of them do, especially on the girls' side. Do you feel like club volleyball is almost necessary to compete at the high school level now?
I would say now, yes, it is, especially in Ontario because it's grown so much. For example, like I know at one of our local high schools tryouts, there was over 90 players trying out, and more than three-quarters of those players were rep volleyball players. So, and a lot of them were from Chaos.
It used to be if you had, I
Crazy.
remember when my kids were
Yeah,
playing, it used to be if you had one kid that had played rep volleyball, they were the standout,
And the rest are
right?
just
Now,
athletes.
the rest were just athletes,
absolutely.
right? I remember talking to, when my son played, how do you pick a group of grade 5, 6 volleyball players? And it was just you pick the athletes, right? And hope you can teach them how to play volleyball. And that's got to be changing now.
Yeah, it definitely has changed for high school volleyball. But even in like grade 7 and 8, we'll see teams that will have at least 1.5 lines of rep players on it. So it's an ever growing sport in that area. It'd be nice if we could get more boys into the sport at an earlier age, definitely. But the girls definitely enjoy the sport and get into it quite early.
So for these athletes, what age are you seeing kind of colleges get interested in these kids, kind of show a little bit of interest and kicking around?
Sorry, did you say colleges and stuff like universities?
Yeah, colleges, like if they had the chance to move on to go on to universities and stuff.
Yeah, so we have had several players every year that go off to college or universities to compete. Typically, when they're in their U17, U8 year, you often see not necessarily scouts, but coaches of those university or college teams going to provincials and looking for key players and things like that. Oftentimes, you also have those college level coaches or university level coaches coaching for like a rep league, just like Chaos somewhere in Ontario. So you often see them at the provincial level or the provincial competitions.
Is that dream
Yeah.
becoming more realistic? Like, are you seeing more, not only Canadian universities and colleges, but maybe the American universities and colleges? You mentioned you had a couple teams down in Detroit this weekend participating in tournaments down there. Is that trying to showcase two different colleges? And as the growth in the States, I know we see, I sat and watched the Nebraska game a couple years ago where they played the outdoor game, sat and watched that with my daughter. Are events like that helping grow the sport of volleyball?
Absolutely, yeah. The
Excellent.
U.S. volleyball is a lot further ahead than Ontario volleyball. Like they have these massive centers with 24 courts in them, like huge sports complex. So when we go down there to compete, it's great opportunity for our teams. But volleyball is at a whole different scale in the U.S. than it is here. So we're growing here in Ontario, but the U.S. the JVA and AAU associations, they're like OVA, they're massive. Like you can go down to the US and pick any weekend and you can go to a volleyball tournament anywhere almost for your age division. Yeah.
Now, but now there still are great options in Canada, right? I know I've seen, a lot of the OCAA volleyball tournaments starting up right now. They're provincial tournaments. It's not like, I say softball. I was a big softball guy, and the college softball up here is much different. In the States you play a 4 month softball season. In Canada you play a 6 week softball season. That's not the same with volleyball. There's some really good college level and university level volleyball programs here. Is that correct?
Yeah, there is. And oftentimes they'll also run clinics for youth. So we have a lot of our rep players that will go to specific clinics at different universities or colleges to learn a specific skill.
That's awesome. I want to take a quick pause here. So, if you're loving these local sports and these conversations, you need to sign up for our Hometown Sports newsletter. We put this together every week. We highlight athletes, recap performances, and keep you up to date on our goal to raise $100,000 for local minor sports. If you're interested in staying up to date, head over to hometownsportsnetwork.ca and sign up today. It's free and we'll keep you up to date. So, Ryan, if we're a grade 7 or grade 8 student and we've maybe played in a public school and just fell in love with volleyball, what's next? How do we get involved?
So we actually have tryouts start in the spring for the rep volleyball, but you also can join our house league at any time throughout the season, and you can also try out, or not, actually, you don't even have to try out for beach volleyball because we don't turn anyone away. So you can register for beach volleyball now and get started in end of May and play until the end of July. And if you're interested in trying out for one of the rep teams, you can come out in the spring or the fall and try out. If you know someone who wants to coach volleyball as well, you can also reach out to the club because that does help.
So
Guys,
you,
you
you
want
talked about
to
the rep, yeah. So you talked about the rep and the house league volleyball. If somebody's fallen in love with it at school, what does Chaos offer? What's the big difference that you're going to get between maybe your public school or your high school volleyball and Chaos?
So all coaches are certified within Chaos, certified to be coaches and get training on how to specifically coach volleyball. So you're going to get 3 hours of skill development every single week, which is really good. You'll get the opportunity to compete provincially against other teams across Ontario. Some teams go down and play in the US, some play nationally across Canada, some even travel. We've had teams travel as far as Hawaii to compete. It's a great club to be a part of for sure.
So the thought that you're going to volleyball because it's significantly cheaper just might not be there for going to Hawaii.
It's reasonably priced, it would be the best way to describe it. So your fees can range anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a season.
Then that would be at the rep. I'm sure the house league would be a significantly lower than that.
House league is significantly cheaper, but our house league does run from October every Friday nights all the way till I think it's end of March, if I'm not mistaken.
Fantastic. And I think that's the same. Doesn't matter what the sport is. If you're talking volleyball, basketball, hockey, softball, if you're playing at a high level, dance, you're paying a lot of money. Nothing's ever cheap, right?
Nothing is ever cheap, no.
What advice would you give to any parents that maybe they're a little unsure that, do I want to get into volleyball? What do I want to do?
As a coach or as a parent with their child?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of both, right? So if you've got a parent that's there and they're watching their kid play volleyball in public school or in high school and they're really loving it and want to take that next step, what advice would you give to them?
Come out to some of our sessions, give it a try. Let your daughter or son practice, see if they actually enjoy the sport. Before they commit to a rep team, you might want to have them try out in the house league or try beach volleyball first before you want to make that larger investment. For our rep teams, you do have to try out for our rep teams, but we are always looking for additional coaches so that we can continue to grow that club. If you want to be a new coach coming out, a new head coach, and you know nothing really about volleyball, you can always pair up with a more experienced coach and have some training with that coach and learn how to run practices and run skills and drills and those types of things.
So, what would your typical, I guess not just week, you've talked about your week, you've got a lot of training. It's different than maybe a hockey schedule where, you've got your, Tuesday night game, a Thursday night game, a Wednesday night practice. You're playing more tournament based or tournament style games, right? What would a typical month maybe look like for one of your competitive rep teams?
So we practice 3 hours a week to 1.5 hour sessions. Some actually practice 3 times a week. We do typically try to scrimmage with other teams within the club at least once a month. For OVA, like the OVA tournaments, they usually happen once every other month. And there's 4 OVA tournaments that you can compete in. But then there's a lot of what are called tournaments that you can attend as well, where clubs will host a tournament and you can go and you can sort of play like kind of like a, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a scrimmage, but there's medals as well. But your 4 provincial OVA tournaments count towards your ranking for when you compete in provincials at the end of the season. We also have, like, for example, my team, we compete in the US. So we will have 2 to 3 US tournaments a year as well, where we travel down there, and those tournaments are 2 days as opposed to 1 day. So typically every other month you have a tournament of some kind that you're playing, and you will typically scrimmage against other teams within your club once or twice a month.
Nice.
Right now, well, yeah, we can't really talk volleyball without talking summer coming up here, getting
Yeah.
excited, and beach volleyball, as you said. Yeah, I've also seen beach volleyball exploding lately. Like a lot of the young kids, I got to run a softball team. I'm starting to recruit a lot of younger kids and they get recruit their friends. But yeah, a lot of them, same time in the end of year tournaments, have beach volleyball tournaments and playing a lot of beach volleyball that in our leagues now. What are you seeing out there in the local scenes?
So like beach volleyball in Norfolk County, it's always about finding the space to set up courts, right? So you can't really go
Absolutely.
down to
Yep.
like Port Dover Beach or Turkey Point Beach and set up multiple courts and run a league. So in the past, we've used like the Turkey Point volleyball
Pavilion, yep.
courts, there's a couple in Port Rowan. We were on private property for a little while where we had 6 courts set up there.
Oh, nice.
Last year, we approached the Norfolk County Fairgrounds, and I was able to set up 18 beach volleyball courts there. So
18. Yep.
yeah, so we've exploded now because now we don't have to turn anyone away. When we were only at like 6 courts, we were turning away 100 to 150 players every year.
Oh,
Yeah, so now with 18 courts, I can run. I think I can run almost 108 teams through a night. So
And how
that's
many
awesome.
nights a
Is
week are
it
those being?
booming all night long too?
So Monday nights, I run an adult league and a 4v4 U13 and under league. I also run my boys 2v2 volleyball league on Monday nights. And then Tuesdays, I run my girls rec volleyball league and competitive volleyball league. And then Thursdays, the second night for the competitive volleyball league for 2.
There we go, boys. Monday nights, but maybe instead of the adults, they'll put us in the youth and we'll have a shot to win something.
Yeah.
I still don't like my chances.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
The Monday Night Adult League is it's a fun league that come out. I had 6 teams come out last year, so I'm hoping to grow that more this year.
And Ryan, we talked about this when you and I met last year when we wanted to do a story for the paper. But I
Right.
know like Dave and Jen at Wholesome Pickens here in Delhi have built their own courts, and then Dan with the Barnyard, right, has also built courts. How neat was that for you to see? Here's 2 local businesses with a little bit of property that want to put their stake in the ground and help grow the game as well.
It's excellent. Competition is always good, and it's just a sign that beach volleyball is growing in our community. And hopefully, at some point, we will get a large facility with lots of beach volleyball courts and indoor volleyball courts. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we're not getting into that conversation on here. We're gonna keep things
No worries.
positive
No
here.
worries. Yeah, absolutely,
Do you find
absolutely.
that the beach helps with the boys and the girls their indoor play once they go back indoors?
Yes, actually, it does. It's a fun place to play. With 2v2 and 4v4, you really learn to move faster on the court. Now, I don't know if you understand, like beach volleyball courts for 2v2 and 4v4 are smaller than hard courts. So they're smaller by 2 meters, basically 2 meters lengthwise and then 1 meter widthwise. So it's a smaller area to cover, but moving in sand is very challenging and you're vertical jumping. So when you're jumping in sand versus on the court, when you go from sand to court, your vertical is all of a sudden a lot higher because you've been trying to jump in sand for the last 2 months.
Do you find beach volleyball is becoming more competitive? Always have found it was mostly recreational, but do you find it's becoming more competitive?
Absolutely, it's very competitive. So even OVA now, the Ontario Volleyball Association has beach volleyball tournaments almost every weekend across Ontario. And a lot of our players that play in our rep volleyball and our local beach volleyball also will go away and compete in those tournaments as well.
That's pretty cool.
Are these kids
So
playing all year round, kind of a deal? Or?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they
Yeah,
play beach volleyball in the summer and then play rep volleyball from September till May.
so
interesting.
your
That's sweet.
season's,
Yeah, it is
I guess
awesome.
we're in February. I guess you'll be heading into a lot of your OVAs and your bigger tournaments. Who's a couple of teams that you have in your association that people should watch out for that could make a little bit of a run at a provincial title?
I think Rumble, it's one of the U16 volleyball teams, is a very strong team. So Chaos Fury is a U15 team. They will likely take a strong run at being very high in the rankings for sure. And I think there's our 18U team is very strong as well. So there's different tiers. So there's like championship, there's premier, there's Trillium White and Trillium Green. So there's like these different divisions. I don't know how to really compare them. I guess like kind of like AAA, AA, single A. The higher age divisions, like when you start in 13U, it's all the same sort of tier. But then as you move from 14U to 15U, your ranking from provincials in 14U determine your starting point in 15U. And then as you move up and down in 15U, that starts your ranking in 16U and so on and so forth. So you can always
Nice.
move up
I
and
like
down the
that.
tiers. So it's really not it's not like AAA and AA because you're not stuck in that division. You can move
That
up and down.
bracket.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Do you see lots of growth in Haldimand?
Yes, we do actually. I would say probably in the last 2 years, we've started to expand out in Haldeman. It is a part of Chaos as well. So there's currently 4 competitive teams out there, and there's 150 house league players out there now. So definitely expanding. And Haldimand's like right on the border of Hamilton, and Hamilton also has a giant volleyball club. But we're starting to take some of those players from Hamilton and Ancaster in that area and in the Haldimand area. So it's good to capture from different zones.
What's the future look
Absolutely.
like?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the future look like, Ryan, for your group and the entire program, do you think?
That's a really good question. What does the future look like? Well, hopefully we continue to grow and expand, hoping that we can get more coaches involved so that we can continue to expand. It'd be nice to see some boys getting involved in the sport more so that we can actually have a solid boys team. It's always difficult getting boys involved in the sport and staying in the sport. Last year, was it last year? I know that there is one boys team. It's not in Chaos. It's in one of the other clubs, but it's hard getting them the same age group. So if you have 14, 15, and 16U players on one team, they're playing at a 16U level, which means that if that's their first year playing, then they're playing at a much higher level than they might be, I don't know, not qualified, but skilled to play at. So So it'd be nice to see more boys get involved in the sport, but it would also be nice to see if we can get more girls to continue in both beach volleyball and club volleyball.
Why do you think that is, Ryan? Why do you think that boys don't seem to stick around as much?
In this area, it's sport competition, I would say, right? So, and it's the size of Norfolk, right? So in Brantford, I know Brantford has a couple boys teams. I know Kitchener-Waterloo has a few boys teams, and I know Hamilton has more boys. It's just population, right? So
Yep, makes sense.
when you're in a small community and you're competing against like rep hockey and baseball and those types of things, and soccer, it's hard to capture their interest, right?
Yep, that totally makes sense. All right, let's segue. Let's do a little rapid fire.
All
Well,
right.
just before we get there, actually, Ryan, I want to. You've actually brought up coaches and the need for coaches a couple times, and I guess let's really dive into that. So, if somebody's listening to this and maybe might be interested. Maybe they've coached another sport. They want to help out in volleyball. How can somebody that might want to coach help out? Because it sounds like that's your biggest need right now, and that's kind of your biggest struggle.
They can reach out to the volleyball club. They can email myself or Jamie Brownlee or any of the other members of the board and just say that they're interested in coaching rep volleyball. We would bring them out we'd interview them. That's one thing that we do. We interview them to kind of screen. And then they have to do some of the coaching training online. And then they would come out to our tryouts, and then they'd work with us during tryouts to sort of select their team for the future. And then if they are not comfortable coaching or coaching skills, we would typically pair them up with a more experienced coach to help them along.
So I'm assuming you got a need for head coaches, assistant coaches, anybody that really wants to help out is probably a need that you've got right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. All right, let's jump into some rapid fires. It's become a little fun segment here, but we're going to go through a few questions just to answer as much or as little as you want. But let's start out: indoor or beach volleyball? What do you prefer?
I would say now I prefer indoor volleyball more than beach volleyball, even though I do run the beach volleyball. Being an indoor coach now and having my daughter part of that rep team and just hearing the crowd cheering and the team cheering and seeing that all the girls coming together and working together, it's amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's the hardest skill in volleyball to learn?
I would say setting is the hardest skill. Positions in volleyball, you have your setter, you have your middles, you have your hitters, you have your libero. Setting is kind of like your quarterback in football. So they control the entire offensive. They are the ones that sort of communicate the plays to the attackers and based on what they see on the opposing side. So I would say probably setting is probably the most difficult on the court because you control the flow of the attack.
If the Norfolk Chaos had a motto on a billboard, what would it say?
Oh, well, we might actually have a billboard soon. So I would say chaos, opportunities for now and for life.
Fantastic. We already talked about. I guess we already gave this one up. Is club volleyball necessary now to make it in high school?
I would say absolutely yes, it is.
What atmosphere do you like better? A nice sunny day on the beach playing beach volleyball, or that packed gym for a playoff game?
I have to say I enjoy the sun, but that packed gym and in the finals when your team has made it to that gold level match, I would say indoor. Indoor is probably a packed full gym of players and screaming teenagers and parents.
Perfect. Perfect. Last one. In one sentence, why would a grade 7 athlete who's playing volleyball for the first time choose volleyball and choose the Norfolk Chaos?
To build skills, it's a great fun sport. Make friends who go to other schools, often becoming your best friends. To be physically active and to enjoy the game. It is a great game to play.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today, Ryan. Before we wrap up, everybody listening, we want your help telling local sports stories. And now you can submit your team scores to be featured on our Hometown Sports Network. So we can highlight athletes from your teams right here at home. And we can make this shareable. So you can share this across all your social media platforms so you can share all the success stories. Just go to hometownsportsnetwork.ca, submit your scores, or email them to info@hometownsportsnetwork.ca. All we need is your game sheet, maybe a quick summary of what happened over a weekend, and we'll turn that into a summary that you can share across all social media platforms and help promote your teams and your athletes. Now you can also nominate a volunteer from your association with our Volunteer of the Month award. Each month, one volunteer wins a t-shirt from the Folk, and you're entered into our April draw from Walker Mortgages to win a pair of Toronto Blue Jays tickets. All you got to do is give us the name and we'll do all the rest. Thanks again, Ryan, for joining today. Stay tuned for our next episode. Make sure you like and subscribe. And thanks again for tuning into Hometown Sports Network.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, guys. Enjoyed it.
Thanks so much, Ryan.